write a paper about it.
No,
For
extra
extra
credit.
credit?
Yes, you have to.
No. Apply the sum and difference formulas.
I'll be having a baby today in Spanish.
No,
You
we're
won't. Because we're doing questions on chapter 4.
Cause she's mean. Oh, she's not
She's
here.
not here.
So we have to watch a movie,
No, we have to do questions on chapter 4.
but she's sick.
She
I don't
told
know
us
why she
yesterday
has
what
me
we were
separated
doing.
from all you guys.
I'm
I'm separated too. Why am I at the front of class?
You probably don't actually
hate
want
sitting
to
at the
sit
front.
over here.
How come KK never gets to sit in the back?
She made me go get paper towels for laughing when somebody spilled their water.
Okay, sum and difference formulas. The sine of a plus b is equal to the sine of a cosine of b plus the cosine of a sine of b. The sine of a minus b is sine of a cosine b minus cosine a sine b. So for these two, the sines, S-I-G-N, are the same for sine. So if this is the sine of a plus b, the sign in here is plus. If it's sine of a minus b, the sign in here is minus.
Is this something we're going to need to memorize?
Yes, there will be 6 of them.
Is,
Tangent will be the worst one. What?
Is it supposed to be sunny today for practice? Cause I only brought shorts.
Me too.
What's not supposed to
get
be
up to
warm?
63.
Dang it. It was like
I forgot myself.
it was like hot. On
It was
Tuesday.
really nice
70
yesterday.
degrees at the last practice.
It's okay. I'm gonna just have to 6, 7.
All right, cosine of a plus b is cosine of a, cosine of b, minus sine a, sine b. Cosine of a minus b is cosine a, cosine b, plus sine a, sine b.
Oh, so it's opposite.
Yep, so the signs are opposite for cosine.
Is this what we were supposed to have written in the notes, but you're just doing it?
Because we can't do this section if you don't have these.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Y'all would be absolutely clueless. So basically, you just got out of having to do the notes for this section. Tangent of a plus b is tangent of a plus tangent of b all over 1 minus tangent of a tangent of b. Then tangent of a minus b is tangent of a minus tangent of b over 1 plus tangent of a tangent of b.
That's not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Well, yeah, but you don't know what these values are equal to yet.
I thought we were just going to leave it at this.
Well, you do, but like when you start plugging in numbers,
You have to use a
they're going to
number.
be
We can't
fractions
just
and
write-
fractions.
We can't just write the
No.
formula over and over again.
Basically, I will, before the next quiz, essentially, I'm just going to hand you your cheat sheets back, and you're going to write these and the stuff from 14.7 on it, and we'll just have one cheat sheet for everything. And then I will probably just hold on to them for the exam.
Sounds good.
Cool.
So for tangent, the top sign is the same. The bottom sign is opposite. And very, very important thing to note here. A and B have to be known angles from the unit circle. It doesn't seem to matter how many times I say this and emphasize this. Inevitably, people still choose whatever angles they well please. It has to be an angle from the unit circle or this does not work.
So like 30 degrees would work, but not 32 degrees.
Right.
Okay.
And like,
So will we ever get a problem that already has those numbers that won't work and we just have to say that it doesn't work?
so what's going to happen is you're going to be given something like the tangent of 65 degrees, basically. And you're going to be taking and you're going to find two angles that when you add or subtract them, give you that value. And there will be multiple ones that work, right? Like if I had, say, like 75 degrees, I could add 30 and 45. But I could also do, oh gosh, I have to think about it.
Perfect. Look at this one.
I have to look at it.
Look at
If I
this.
had 75, I could also do
I win.
120 minus 45. So there's different things that we can do. So like individually, some of your stuff may look different because there's different numbers that can add or subtract to give you that same value.
Okay.
But I could also do something like 240 minus something else. You know what I mean? Like you can choose whatever numbers. I try to choose the easiest ones that like come first, but it doesn't matter if that makes sense. Like if I'm doing 75, I'm gonna do 30 plus 45, while there are others that I could do. I don't know if that makes sense. It'll make more sense as we go if it doesn't. All right. So
Perfect star.
Mine's better.
Yeah.
Okay, I used to know how to do a 3D stuff.
What?
these will say find the exact value of the expression. So the sine of negative 165 degrees. Now, I can't use these formulas for negative numbers.
But it's not 3D star.
So if I want to find an equivalent angle that is not negative, what would I do?
Take the inverse on.
Find the coterminal angle.
Find the coterminal angle. How do I do that?
Plus 180.
360.
Add 360. So negative 165 plus 360 is 195. So now I'm looking at the sine of 195 degrees. So I want two angles that I can either add together or subtract that when I do that equal 195. So what I do is I go to my unit circle and I'm looking for numbers that add up to be 195. So I'm looking, I could do 60 and 135. I could also do, 45 and 150. I could also do that. I could figure out one that I could do subtracting. I usually like adding, but it just depends. So, which one do you want to do?
Adding.
Let's do 60 and 35. 135.
60 and 135. All right. So, we would then rewrite this as the sine of 60 plus 135. And now I use the formula. So sine is sine times cosine, same sine, cosine times sine, and they alternate their angles. So this would be sine 60, cosine 135, same sine, plus cosine 60, sine 135. And I could write sine 135 first and then write cosine. It doesn't matter. as long as you get both of them in there. So now, from your unit circle, what is the sine of 60?
Root 3
over 2.
Root 3 over 2. What's the cosine of 135?
Negative root 2 over 2.
Negative root 2 over 2. Plus, what's the cosine of 60?
1/2.
1/2. And what is the sine of 135?
Root 2 over 2.
Root 2 over 2. So then now I combine. So root 3 times negative root 2 is what?
Root 6.
Negative root 6. Plus 1 times root 2 is root 2. Over, these are going to have a common denominator. If they didn't, I would need to get a common denominator first, but it pretty much always works out that they do. So I would have all of this over 4. So, and you could rewrite it as root 2 minus root 6 over 4. Those are the exact same thing. I usually just leave it however it is to begin with, but the book may reorder it. I'm not sure. Also depends on not what numbers they use, but if they did it as like this one first or this one first. It's really the only thing that's going to make a difference.
So what did that accomplish?
um,
Oh wait, I kind of see. Like we're trying to find
No,
the.
that makes sense. What does it come?
It's how to find the sign of a number that's not on the unit circle.
Yes.
Why don't we just like
yes.
maybe get this
If you
out?
didn't have your calculator, essentially, it's how you could do it.
But
Oh.
if I did have a unit circle.
That does kind of make sense.
Well, you've memorized your unit circle, so you should know it.
I don't know all the weird ones. I tried to do my homework without the unit circle. I was like, okay.
Well, in preparation for next year's AP pre-cal exam, you will have to just know it. I had that harsh discussion with them yesterday when I asked them what some value off the unit circle was, and they all looked at me, and I was like, I would suggest you memorize this because they don't give you one. They're like, they don't give you one? I was like, no.
Is pre-cal the class before us?
Pre-cal is
No,
last
they're fourth
week
period.
this year.
4th period?
Oh.
I was
Oh.
asking. I'm sorry.
No, college algebra is before you.
I didn't know how to put it nicely. Hey, that's why like, I was, yeah.
Where's your AirPods?
Right, you said the right thing, but for a completely different
For wrong
subject.
question.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
I don't know.
But you could check this, technically speaking, by plugging in the sine of 195 and then plugging in your answer and seeing if you get the exact same thing.
That's a little tricky.
All right, number 6. Cosine of 15. So sometimes they give us an angle where adding just flat out won't work. There are no angles that I can add together off the unit circle that add up to 15, right? So, no, I'm going to use subtracting instead. Man down.
My pockets.
All right, so what angles can I subtract to give me 15 degrees?
45 and
60
30.
minus 45.
45 and 30,
45 and
60
30.
minus 30, 60 minus 45, not 60 minus 30.
What-
Yes,
What did we subtract by her? 3, 6.
we don't need to do that. I only did that on the last one because this was negative.
Okay.
If it's a negative angle, then I've got to do that. This one's positive, so I don't need to do anything. So I would do, it doesn't matter, you can choose your favorite, but I'm going to do 45 minus 30.
Okay.
I also could do 150 minus 35. I could do 315 minus 300. Totally up to you, but I like choosing the ones that I know the numbers are positive, easier to work with. So, formula for cosine. We have, it's cosine times cosine, opposite sine, sine times sine. So, this would be cosine 45, cosine 30, plus sine 45, sine 30. What's the cosine of 45?
Root 2 over 2.
Cosine 30?
Root of 3 over 2.
Root 3 over 2. Plus sine 45?
Square root of 2 over 2.
Root 2 over 2. Sine 30?
1/2.
And so then I've got root 6 plus root 2 all over 4. What do you notice about these two answers so far?
They're the same. Well, not really. But
So if when you're doing sine and cosine, you ever have numbers other than these in some form, you are wrong.
oh.
Oh, that makes sense.
So 6
They all have to be some order of root 6, root 2, 4, and it can be positive or negative.
This is easy.
It is easy. I like this stuff. As long as you know the formulas, it's good. Now, tangent, on the other hand, they're not just these numbers. Tangent could also be the number just 2 and then root 3. Pretty much are the two options you have with tangent.
The only
So if your
one-
answers don't ever look like this, go back and do it again. Something's wrong.
Is it always? Yeah, it's always over 4.
Hmm?
Is it always over 4? Unless it's.
Yeah.
Like,
Unless it's tangent.
Yeah.
So, if they ever do what they're about to do in this problem where they tell us it's the tangent of 17 pi over 12, it would not be pleasant to sit there and try to figure out in radians what two angles I can add together, because first of all I got to get the common denominator that adds up to give me 17 pi over 12. Is it possible? Absolutely. Would it take you all day? Probably. So, any suggestions on what I might say we should do instead?
We have an amazing math teacher that will just help us through it.
Yeah.
Convert it to degrees, yes.
What? So converting, you put 1.
So 17 pi over 12. We multiply by 180 over pi.
The 12.
And we get 255 degrees.
Because I'm Steven.
This is the thing I do wrong on the test every time.
It confuses me because you do like a T and I just multiply. I don't know. It's kind of.
You don't have to do it this way. You just need to show what you're doing.
Well, I know that's what I do, but it confuses me sometimes because I think it's like.
This is how it'll be done when you get to chemistry. Chemistry conversions will always be a T-chart. So if you take chemistry, get used to a T-chart.
Is it an option? Like to take chemistry?
I mean, yes, but
Yeah,
a lot
you
of
T-chart
majors
for
require chemistry, so.
Teacher.
And I would highly recommend taking chemistry in high school before you get to college, because if you have to take it in college, it's miserable if you haven't had any kind of chemistry before that. So now I'm going to replace this and say tangent of 255 instead. So I need two angles that I can either add together or subtract to give me 255.
2, 4, no.
225 and 30.
225 and 30.
Good job.
So now, tangent formula.
Uh-oh.
This is why I hate being at the end of the book. Always
Well,
falls
we can
off.
go back to chapter
I'm not
6.
gonna laugh.
You can laugh, it's okay.
It was taking everything.
It's okay. It happens a lot. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet in trig, because normally when I'm in trig, it just constantly happens, and it's
Table.
it is, and my iPad has to be in a certain spot, or my iPad flips off, and I'd rather this flip off than that. So it just it's the whole thing. It's fine. Sometimes I can catch it, sometimes I can't. Clearly today was not one of them.
Spidey senses.
Oh my god. That's it.
Yo.
Oh, I'm done.
Stacy said.
What? I don't know what you guys are saying.
He said Stacy.
Did take my stats class to go see Spider-Man.
What?
I took my stats
What?
class to go see Spider-Man when it came out, whatever that was, 2 years ago.
There's a new one in June.
Yeah, we should go.
I don't like Spider-Man.
What?
I took
Why
one
did
for
you
the
take
team
them?
Why?
because
What do you have against him?
I just have never liked Spider-Man. That's just not my thing. Captain America and Thor are my people.
He's
That's
like
it.
The funniest.
Those are my favorite too.
Also, the end of the Captain America movie was kind of anticlimactic.
Sucked.
It was not good, but it's fine. But all that to say, I really don't like Spider-Man that much. But my stats class wanted to do something, and they wanted to go see Spider-Man, and I agreed to take them so that they could go.
Did you pay for all of them?
No.
No. What?
Well,
We literally went the day it came out,
Oh.
or the day after. I think we went on, no. Yeah, we went on Thursday, like the day that it came out, I'm pretty sure.
we should do that sometime. Because
Yeah.
we're good clients.
Like, I will go, but it's just not my first pick of movie, if that
I
makes
don't
sense.
even know what Spider-Man is, if I'm being completely honest. I know what he looks like, and that's about it.
Paddington was a great movie, if anybody wants to see Paddington. That was a good movie.
The one with the mom there?
Yeah.
Mama.
Yes.
No,
I thought you... No, I thought you said the one with the mummy, and I was like, Daniel, that's not the same movie.
No, when I was in Paddington Station, like they had a spot where the movie where he gets out and sits on the bench, like they had a bench with Paddington, and he was eating marmalade.
Wow.
So
I didn't know that he was into marmalade until I watched this movie. It's like, oh, okay.
Apparently, it got a rating, a really good rating on Rotten Tomatoes or something. I don't know.
It was a well done movie. I didn't think I was gonna enjoy it, and I did.
I like
Didn't they try to make another one?
That
they making a
this
third
was
one?
the new one.
My grandma liked it.
It's a grandma type movie.
Anyways, back to tangent. So we have the tangent of a plus b. So it's same sign on top, opposite sign on the bottom. So I've got the tangent of 225 plus the tangent of 30 over 1 opposite sign minus tangent of 225 tangent of 30. And what is the tangent of 225? 1.
1.
1.
What's the tangent of 30?
Square root of 3 over 3.
Here comes a fraction and a fraction. Over 1 minus tangent of 225, we've already said is 1, times tangent of 30 is root 3 over 3. So I'm going to get a common denominator in this step. 3 plus root 3 over 3. All over. Common denominator again. 3 minus root 3
The cow's in the way.
over 3. You can thank your brother for that.
I don't want to.
Wait,
Which brother?
could you just
Nathan got me the cow.
couldn't you just take out a -1 from the bottom and then cross them out?
No,
Why doesn't that work?
What color?
because it wouldn't be the same thing.
Daniel.
Because based on what you said, the answer would be -1, and that's not the answer. I've got to keep change flip now.
Where's Shepard?
Yeah, we need Shepherd. Insert keep change flip.
He
He's been
confused me.
gone every day that we actually needed to keep James up.
I had to look up what it meant because I've never really learned what it is. I've just followed intuition.
And Shepard confused me with it.
I actually understood his train of thought, but
Well, you keep the first number, you change the sign, and you flip the
Yeah.
last one.
Yeah, I told Danny to explain it to me like I was a 3rd grader, and then I got it.
All right, so now 3's cancel,
I love canceling numbers. That means less work.
and I end up with 3 plus root 3 over 3 minus root 3. Can't have a radical on the bottom, so what do I need to do?
Multiply by the conjugate.
So that would be 3 plus root 3 top and bottom,
why can't your other threes cancel?
because they're being added.
Oh, okay.
So on top, I've got 9 plus 3 root 3 plus 3 root 3 plus 3 over
What is this?
9 minus 3. factoring.
I don't like it.
Technically foiling, I guess. I just
Well,
foiled.
easier than this.
The bottom is a difference of squares.
Yeah.
The top is technically a perfect square trinomial.
This one problem is taking up half of my page.
I would normally probably go like side to side on this one, but I'm trying to make sure that we're seeing step by step exactly what's happening. So now, on the top, I've got 12 plus 6 root 3 over 6. I factor out a 6.
See, when we start back,
Gives me 2 plus root 3 over 6. Now 6's cancel, and I'm left with 2 plus root 3, which are what my tangent answers are supposed to look like.
Oh, I see why you can't take out the negative. That makes sense.
Wow.
Because it wasn't negative on the first one.
see, when we start taking things out of a problem instead of putting them in to get the answer,
Okay, I don't think this is like
All right.
difficult, it's just
Tomorrow we're doing Pi Day stuff, and I don't want you to forget this. There's more to this section, but 3, 7, and 9.
Yes.
16 already
I don't know if I can do this.
Only one of them's tangent, so I think you should be okay. It's the very first one. So if you survive the first one, you'll be all right. We'll be using this stuff to answer more questions, but you need to make sure you understand the gist of the formulas before we get into the rest of it. But we should finish it up on Monday. And then
This 14
there should be notes for 14.7 on due Tuesday. What?
I'm
Exactly,
studying
my
12 hours.
Also, don't forget Pi Day tomorrow. If you memorize 75 digits, I'll give you 3 points. Whoever has the most gets 5.
3.14.
3.1415.
My sister memorized the whole
Are you gonna
thing.
take down
No,
this
do
thing?
6, 5.
Yes, because that's what I use to track it.
9, 7,
And then I write initials on there of where people get to. And then if you bring circular food, then we get to eat.
We want to eat.
What if we bring in
There's
circular
an
food
apple.
I'm gonna bring
for
that.
extra
Is a
credit?
It's
pizza
not a
a
circle.
circle or a triangle technically?
Pizza's a circle.
In a square
It wouldn't be a
box?
That you
triangle. It
eat
would be
from the
Yes.
inside out.
But
How
then
do
they're
you try?
triangles.
It's pizza.
Pizza would be a
That's
triangle.
But
that you
pizza's
eat
not
inside
technically
out.
a triangle because
Yeah.
it's rounded.
Yeah.
It's we could actually find the arc length of the outer edge of the pizza and find the perimeter of our pizza.
I don't bring the pizza anymore.
I hate it.
We're not actually gonna do it.
I don't trust you.